episode 030.
I'm Rob Malicki. My first degree was Bachelor of Science, currently the Chief Operating Officer of AIM Overseas in Sydney.
My name is Marine Hautemont. I'm from France. I did an undergraduate law degree there, then came out to Australia in 2001, studied a Masters of International Communication, and I'm now the CEO of AIM Overseas.
Welcome to Innovator Diaries, a show where influencers and leaders from all walks of life share their story and experiences. You learn the strategies and action points that have helped them find success and get to where they are today. You'll hear their stories and valuable advice to help you on your own path. These messages may also help somebody you know, so please share. Rob and Marine, thank you so much for doing this. People are going to learn a lot from your experience. First, because you were employed and you had really good jobs and then decided to jump off the boat and create your own business. And now it's a very successful business. And second, this is the first experience we have in doing an interview with two people at the same time.
Perfect.
So it's going to be good, I think. If you could tell me a little bit about your childhood and perhaps who was the most influential person in that stage of your life.
That's an interesting question. I grew up in France. I've got a close-knit family. I've got an older brother and sister, and they're quite a bit older. My brother is 14 years older, and my sister is 13 years older. So I guess I always saw them maybe as a bit of role models because of the age gap. My brother moved when I was still really young to the US. My dad also started his own business in France when I was about 10 years old or something. And my sister, when she got married, started a business with her husband. So I guess there was a fair bit of family influence there. My mom was a stay-at-home mom, but was a very good business mind. She always had some pretty interesting ideas.
I mean, I think I had a pretty average upbringing, like there was nothing like a good upbringing, but an average one in the sense that, my parents were two teachers. I lived in suburbia here in Sydney, in the north of Sydney. In I guess what's a relatively affluent area, but we were just basically middle class. I went to my local public school, local high school. Probably the most influential thing would be when my grandma used to get 110 Christmas cards every Christmas from people all over the world. And I've thought about that a lot. Like there've been a lot of people in my life who've been influential, but I think seeing all of those Christmas cards hanging on the wall every year had an enormous impact on me.
Why?
Just the fascination that firstly you could have these people from all over the world. Like what was the world? Like this kind of huge unknown concept. And the fact that you would communicate with all of these people, that you would write to all of those people everywhere, and from all corners of the globe, suddenly this mail would arrive literally every Christmas. So I think it just sparked some sort of fascination that the world was a big, interesting place.
So when you were teenagers, did you travel?
I traveled a little bit, but my family traveled a little bit, first to visit my brother who was still in the US in San Francisco. And I had family around the place. So for instance, my cousins lived in Germany, so of course would visit them as well. My mom had traveled a lot in her childhood, so certainly because my grandfather was an ambassador. So I certainly had the concept of traveling, but for the most part, my holidays were very stable holidays. Each year I would go and spend a month at my grandmother's house in the south of France with my cousins, and I loved that time there. And then I would spend the other months of the summer holidays in the southwest of France with my family. It was very much a routine to it. It was very much the same holidays that you could expect each year, and there was a lot to look forward to. And it was only probably when I got to about the age of 15 that I started to maybe open up a little bit more to traveling and sense of thinking about it for myself. So I went and did a summer camp in the US, in Minnesota, when I was 15, and that was a pretty big jump for me. I had taken English as a second language, so I only studied English 2 years before at school. And I ended up in summer camp for months.
Want to listen to the entire interview? Simply go to innovatordiaries.com/episode number. Or you can find this episode and hundreds of other great stories on Google Podcast, iTunes, Spotify, or whatever your favorite podcast player is. Please check me out on LinkedIn. Follow or connect with me as I'm very proactive on that social network. And finally, subscribe to this YouTube channel. You'll get all the new stories as soon as they're released. See you next time.